Then we'll see if we can manage anything else. You can see in the original model there's nothing special going on. Doesn't even look like jade in my opinion. It's more like a rusted bronze. So yeah, we're gonna take care of that. I'm gonna start by writing down a few notes for myself to avoid forgetting what we're trying to do with this thing. Of course, if you have any question, please let me know. Okay, so just these 4 keywords or things to remember. Curved shapes, elegant design, oriental and dragon theme. And what I'm doing is thinking about the fact that jade is very common as a material in oriental and Chinese jewelry, for example. And picking up with that the dragon theme, because oriental stuff in the Elder Scroll comes usually from Akavir. So I decided that I'm just gonna try to tackle a design with these parameters. Yeah, the amulet you can see on screen right now is the base vanilla one, and that's what we're trying to fix right now, making something a little bit more interesting. So let's get started. Just gonna grab a nice simple brush to do some sketching. Let's see what we got here. Square, maybe not. I'll probably keep it simple with a round brush. Yeah, it's always the best choice when you don't know what to use. Okay, so the first one I'm gonna try to use a Radial Symmetry. You can set it up here and see what comes out. So for the first one, which of course most likely it's not going to work because the first idea is almost never your best one, but I'm just simply gonna go with these 3 dragon heads, kind of like a very simple, almost too simple and basic idea for this. And one thing, for example, that I'm also thinking about is this is not a very precious amulet, so we don't want to go too complex or intricate. So for example, these dragon heads are probably already too much in terms of idea. It doesn't look common enough. That's what I'm trying to say. But you know, let's not get further with this and just try to make a new one. Maybe switch to a vertical symmetry. Yeah, I think the amulet you get it from a quest. It's a lost amulet that was stolen by goblins. And it was someone's wife's amulet, and he wants you to retrieve it. So let's try something like this. These I already like more than that one. It has a better shape, better flow, and it's more simple, kind of elegant. And then we could have something here that just holds the string of the necklace. Okay, let's make a variation of this one. Let's get these on the side and just maybe make the same but with a detail in the middle. It could be interesting. Let's reset the symmetry. We might want to thicken this bottom part because, you know, any kind of jewelry that is too thin, it's very easy to break. And it's something, I mean, of course it's a game, it's a 3D model, it's not going to break, but these are things you want to keep in mind if you're doing this kind of stuff. Because it has to look at least believable, if not super realistic. And maybe this could have some extra volume, be like a rounded form. Good day! Welcome everyone who joined. Ooh, so much space that was hidden here. Let's bring it out. Okay, let's move on to the next design. Let's do something without any symmetry for now. Gordon asks, do you work as a professional concept artist? Yes, I do. Not at the moment. At the moment I'm working in animation, doing background paintings. But yeah, in general I work as a professional artist and I did concept art. Let's make this a little bit more of a pendant, maybe. Again, if you guys have any question, feel free to ask, whether it be on the technical side of things or on the project. I'll do my best to try and answer. The difference, at least for me, I'm not sure if it's a technical difference or anything, but with Amulet, I usually think of stuff like, you know, there's attached and then there's something like these. While with the pendant, I always imagine it's something more like this, but I don't know if it's an actual difference or they're just synonyms. So if anyone knows, please share with us, because that's the limit of my knowledge in the difference is just what I feel like these two are. Okay, this is kind of working, but it's not, I think, elongated enough. It doesn't feel very elegant, maybe? Could also try... You can see I'm not really trying to force the dragon theme, because it was just an idea, and it's not something that I necessarily want to go with. Let's leave these on the side for a moment. Hey, Prismatic, welcome. Stream just coming along nicely. We just started, so doing some chill drawing, figuring things out. Yeah, have fun with your CK stream, man. I'm thinking this specific design could be flat rather than curved and bumpy like the other ones. So this would be more like a medallion. I'm not using a mouse, I'm using a drawing tablet. I would say it's pretty necessary when you do these for job. The mouse is not very practical. Yeah, I've seen some people use the mouse and create insane artwork, but yeah, that takes way too much patience. And nowadays, I mean, you can get a very cheap tablet for like 30 to 50 euros, so I don't really see a reason to use the mouse over the tablet. I'm not really digging this like a long shape, but yeah, let's see what we can do. I'm not even sure we're gonna go with this specific design since we're still just exploring different ideas. How did I learn to draw? Well, I started learning on my own at age 23 because I decided I want to be actually a 3D artist, not a concept artist at first. But after asking guidance to some people on Polycount, which is an online community, they told me I should still learn the drawing fundamentals like anatomy and perspective, values, because even if you do 3D, it's useful to know those things. So I did, and ultimately I liked drawing more than I did 3D back then, so I started doing master studies and watching YouTube videos. And after a while, when I was starting to get some results, I decided to enroll on online classes on, for example, CGMA or Schoolism, things like that. And I took 2 or 3 classes online, and then I found a mentorship as well. So it was a combination between doing a lot of studies and sketches and painting for myself, but also, you know, watching a lot of content and practicing those things and also seeking guidance from more experienced artists. There are many ways to go, there's not a universal way, but yeah, this was my journey, more or less. And there's still so much I need to learn. I don't like that this tail is being like so thick at the end, so let's just make it a little bit smaller and maybe give it a better shape. And this is something I was thinking about often recently. What defines a good shape? Because I'm sure there are some qualities of good shapes, like could be simplicity, but overall I found it's very hard to, decide what makes something a good shape. And it's one thing that I really struggle for many years, just to learn to make more interesting and better shapes. And this could probably have the string attached at this spike here. Yeah, this is not too bad. With some improvements, it could be interesting. Maybe again, like I mentioned earlier, it could be a little bit too much considering it's a simple amulet. We might just go with something a lot more simple, even if it's less interesting, because you don't always need to over design everything. You definitely need to keep in mind what the design is for. And that's true for everything, not just this specific project or design. Alright, let's make another one or two, and then we can probably pick one, refine the design a little bit, and then start the painting process. Rainbow says, simple done well does usually look better than complex for the sake of being complex. And that's very true. Like, there is no need for complexity in art, most art. Even realistic things look best when they have an aspect of simplicity in it, because it's more deliberate. You're making a choice, you're making a design, you're not just overcomplicating the read. Because oftentimes, if you make a very complex shape, like if I were to do something, very, very noisy in terms of contour, something like this, for example, and it's also a matter of proportion, of course, but, if this was my shape, it would be very hard to read, very boring, and, it's a problem of several things. It could be silhouette, it could be proportion, it could be excessive simplicity as well. If I were to design a sword, and maybe I had an example somewhere, but if I were to design a sword and I did something like, okay, this is a sword. You can probably tell it's a sword, right? It has a hilt, it has a guard, a blade, the pommel. But it looks very simple and very boring, so it's not a good design. It's a sword, but it's not a good design. On the other hand, if I decided, I want a fancy sword, so I'm just gonna make this curved blade with spikes coming out of it, and, maybe it has poison dripping from the top. You do things like this, and suddenly this doesn't look even like a sword anymore. Like, it's just bad. Because it's too complex, too many things going on. There's not a clear shapes, no good proportion, no discerning elements. So, what do? You try to find something, like a design that works well with what you're trying to make. Like I could say, I want to make a strong sword, like a kind of heavy. And then you make certain choices, and this is not going to be a great design because it is just for the sake of illustrating this point. But you know, it's not such a simple and straightforward process. There are many things you have to think about when doing concept art, from functionality to proportions, and you know, who made this object, who is it for, how long ago has it been made, because you know, if this was a sword that was made yesterday versus a sword that has been around for many years, that would be pretty different. So there's quite a lot of thinking when designing something. But anyway, back to our point. Sarge Buttercorn says, is this work being done for a unique amulet or a more standard kind that will be common through the world? This is actually going to be a common one. I'm not sure if the Jade, since you get it from a quest, there's only that one instance of this amulet. In the case it would be unique but not too special. But I think it might just be that it will be just another variety of common amulet, like the golden amulet or the silver amulet that you will find in the world. And this is also why I'm a little bit reluctant with going with this dragon design, for example, even if I like it, because it's a little bit too unique to be a common amulet. Advocate says, hi Rob, do you use any SNS sharing hearts? What are SNS? Or what is? I'm not sure. Oh, social media. Yeah, I do. I have ArtStation, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I got them all. Oh yeah, let's also delete this. Are you guys making unique models for all unique items? Asks. It's Rainboy. Yes, we are. Or at least most of them, because there are certain uniques that probably don't require unique models, so we're just making a slight variation. But for the most part, yes, we're making unique models and unique designs, because vanilla Oblivion had mostly just recolored common items, and that's something we wanted to change. Share with us. Sure. Which one you want? I'm gonna give you ArtStation first, because that's the core of it. Also have YouTube. Oh man, too many. I should make like a copy-paste. Just gonna give you this tree, and then you can find me wherever else. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Okay, next design. Let's try to do another simple one. Let's start with a No, I don't really like this shape at the top. Let's just start with this kind of like half moon thing, because that's not bad. Let's see what we could have. Let's prop in some symmetry, because this might work well. Thank you. That was a splash art illustration I made for an upcoming pirate game made by a indie studio in Italy. It was pretty fun piece to make. I really love pirates, so I couldn't pass the chance. There are not enough pirate games. Never enough. And unfortunately for me, I didn't really enjoy Sea of Thieves that much. I love how it looks, and I love just, you know, sailing on my boat, on my ship, doing whatever. But in terms of gameplay, I don't know, I wasn't really a fan, even though I love pirates. It was kind of a bummer, because I was really looking forward to it. Yes, my Besiege artwork is official as well. I worked on Besiege from early 2018 to a couple months ago, actually, July this year. And I was in charge of designing and creating levels and gameplay and lighting and basically everything for the last island, except modeling. I think this can stay relatively clean like these, and maybe we can doodle in some pattern here at the bottom to give it a little bit more interesting. But this is fairly interesting and fairly simple, I would say. In terms of shapes, there's not too much busy work. Yeah, there hasn't been a 2D art stream for Skyblivion in a long time, I feel like. Because I haven't streamed it forever or even made art because I was too busy with work. But this weekend I got pretty much nothing to do, so I just decided to put in some work. I've mostly been managing people, assigning tasks, giving feedback. I haven't done much work myself. I'm also thinking we could flatten this out rather than having it be curved. Again, we can just give it an edge here and make it flat. Yes, Sarge, I agree. Never enough pirates. I think one of the most fun pirates game I've ever played was that Sea Dogs 2, or I think they renamed it to Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, or something, for the first Xbox. That was a lot of fun for me. It was also published by Bethesda. I didn't know that until many years later. They didn't had anything to do with the development, of course, but I was surprised to see it was published by them. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with this design. I think it's fairly simple, fairly rounded and elegant. We kind of discarded the dragon theme in the end, but I think it's for the best. I'm just gonna see if we want to change any of these shapes. And maybe make this change on a new layer and see what up. The fidget spinner dragon. Yeah, that was just the first sketch, but I already knew it wasn't coming out very nicely, so that was just to get our gear started. I mean, it's not entirely bad, but I don't think it fits. And it doesn't really have very nice shapes at the moment, but yeah, that's something not too hard to fix if we wanted to. I guess if we do something like this, we could even bring back the dragon thing a little bit. Make this very stylized. This could totally be a dragon head. Just gonna make a couple changes. But again, I think I'm going back to too complex. And it's something that it's really, really hard to avoid because it's fun. It's definitely fun. Hey there, Captain Hardlock. Welcome to the stream. I don't know, guys. I think this is a little bit too much. What did it say? I think this dragon adds. That felt a bit excessive. But I kind of wanted to see if I could. Yeah, I think something simple like this helps. Sorry for the noise. This helps the shape a little bit without adding the same complexity as the dragon's head. Kinda has the same function, but way more simple. And I also imagine, when doing things like that, it's also good to imagine other angles. So I imagine from the top view, these, rather than just being flat, it could be a little bit curved, like these. So we had, one of these wings going like these, and then going back at the top, and doing the same from this part. It could be a little bit more interesting that way. And I might eventually do a proper, like from the back view and top 3/4, just so the 3D artist knows. But at the moment it's not super important. The floppy pigeon pendant. Which one is it? Oh, this one's definitely a floppy pigeon. I'm seeing it. This is the pigeon one. Okay, now that we have this design, we can hide everything else that we don't need. So let's isolate our main design. Make it bigger. And let's start with the painting. First, I think I'm just gonna block in some colors. Well, this is not... Wait, we have some stuff that we do not want. Let's just erase. This should be a decent starting point. Reading map. Wait, why is this thing turned pink? Okay, nice. And now we can go into the greens and start seeing which of these greens could be a nice start. And maybe let's put this on overlay. Soft light? Soft light. This is nice, actually. We might not even need to change that much. Alright, nice. And now I'm probably not going to use the round brush just because we probably need some textures. Let's see. Put back some symmetry just for the blocking of colors, because otherwise it might take some time. And merge down our gradient map. Now I'm gonna introduce a little bit of color variety. Jade definitely has these very nice different colors in it. We also want to try to start building in this subsurface scattering. You can see it here, because light is gonna peak inside this material and it's gonna pass through, illuminating it. And that's a big component of Jade or most other gems, really. And for nice variety, we might go colder in hue, less saturated, and just had some of these speckles. And even if we haven't really done any painting on it, you can see that it feels already quite alive, because there's this nice variety of greens in it. How's this for painting? Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. And at this point, yeah, I think it's better if we disable the symmetry, so we can paint some differences and break the symmetrical look a tiny bit. And it would be nice to decide where the light is coming from at this stage, but I'm just gonna make a new layer so we can try it out. Let's say it comes from top left, maybe. So there would be highlights here. There would be a nice highlight. And maybe also, let's start in the background, because we can see what we're doing a little bit better. Okay. Another light would be here. This is Jade, which I guess it's kind of similar. But looking for references, I found many different ways that you can have Jade Jewel. And I'm still trying to decide, whether I want a more polished Jade, so like sharper highlights, or a little bit more rough. When going from concept art to 3D model, do you have to start from scratch and just recreate the concept? Asked Sarge Buttercorn. Yes, that's exactly true. Usually 3D artists would put this image in their 3D program of choice and trace it with polygons so they can create the exact shape and silhouette. Or oftentimes even just as a reference. But yeah, they pretty much have to start the whole thing from scratch. Okay, so this would just give us an idea, more or less, of where the light is coming from. But I feel that we could try a couple different things. Stronger highlight at the exact point where the light hits can make a huge difference in the terms of how the material reads. So basically what happens is, imagine you have a curved surface like these, and you have light coming in this direction. Okay? So your brightest point, it's gonna be the most perpendicular, because if you trace these like the points on this curve, that is gonna be most perpendicular and make a 90 degrees angle. That's gonna be your brightest point, and then the light is gonna slowly fade the more the angle gets larger, and after it reaches from 90 to 180 degrees, then it's where you have the terminator. So for example, if we continue this surface here, the moment the light from this angle reaches here, this is gonna be our last lit point, and from this, basically following the shape of the object, you're gonna have your shadow. This is just a quick explanation on how you think about light in this way. So I know it's coming down from here, so I'm gonna hit all these perpendicular points with the brightest highlight to communicate this thing. Hey, Majestics. Oh, it's going well. Just painting something chill. What about you? What news do you bring from the border? Let's also go in and add some darker green. Yeah, looking at my references, let's see. Maybe let's not use this soft because it has no texture on it. Too strong. Don't I have anything else? Probably. Oh yeah, this one should have a little bit of texture. So No. Oh, this is actually nice. It's gonna come in handy for the details. Okay, this is perfect. Just a little bit more textural noise. And then in the way where the light enters in these places, we can actually boost the colors and the saturation a little bit. Because that's the point where subsurface scattering happens, which is when the light, like I was saying before, enters the translucent object and illuminates the area. And with gems, depending on the type of gem, jade is not exactly transparent glass like some other gems, so the subsurface scattering is gonna be more limited. So it really depends on the density of the object. And you see how many things you have to think about when just doing a pretty simple amulet sketch. Hey Phantom, nice to know it's relaxing. It's not the first time I hear it, and I think it's pretty nice. Just having people relax while I paint. Let's add some blues in the shadowy area, just to have some more color variety. That never hurts. We can probably... another thing we could do if we wanted to, could be to introduce secondary light. If we wanted to have a more top-down skylight, or a lamp with cool light, that could be interesting. And it can definitely add a lot of life to your material if you do something like this. Because in the real world, unless you're something you have something in shadow, it's sometimes gonna be hit by several different color light. And even in the case of reflected light, for example, you have the light coming through the window and hitting your red carpet that's close to the wall, and then the red light from the carpet's gonna hit the wall, and it's gonna bounce off the wall onto something else. So it's very complex. So when you introduce some of these colors into your painting, it just adds a little bit more life to it. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I also try to keep it a little bit more informative, because I know many people, even as a hobby, they like to draw. So if you can learn something while watching this, I think it's pretty good. You can relax and learn a fun fact or a trick. And it's also good practice for my YouTube channel, because I'm mostly doing tutorials and all kind of stuff there. And I could probably just grab these and give it to a 3D modeler, and they would have zero problem making it with these. They don't need anything more rendered out than this one, but we're just gonna continue just a little bit before moving on to something else. Hey Roy, awesome. Welcome to the stream. If you guys don't know Roy, he's an amazing artist. It's cool to have someone else from the team joining the chat. Rebel is not home, as far as I know, today, so... Oh no, Sarge, what did you miss? But if you want to know anything in particular about how things change, let me know. I'll do a brief recap. As you guys seen, the material came alive pretty quickly. We just spent, I think, 10 minutes on it. But that's because we already had the form for the design, so we haven't really modified those too much. And we simply applied very solid and straightforward fundamentals. And this is why I was saying earlier that this is fundamentals are the most important thing, because you can do creative things probably even without, of course, fundamentals, but it makes it so much easier because you have an understanding of how certain things work. You don't have to guess. Like, I don't have to think how to apply my light in here. I don't have to think about the textures or, it's just applying a certain, not even rules. Well, they are rules in a sense, of course, but, your knowledge that you built up doing studies and your understanding of material and light. And of course, you can always improve on these things, and there are so many amazing artists that can just pull incredible things without thinking about it. But when you don't know things and you're like, oh, this drawing is not coming out the way I want it to, just grab a reference, try to understand what you're struggling with, and by studying the reference, you will assimilate the function of that object or material, and that will stay with you, because when you study it and then you repurpose it for one of your pieces, then next time you're gonna paint the material, you're gonna know. And if you also learn how to analyze and break down materials, then that makes it really easy as well. Like, I don't think I ever painted Jade before, but I know how I can break it down with texture and form and light and color. So that definitely makes my life easier. Let's also merge everything. How do I pick the right colors? That's a very good question. Personally, color has always been the focus of my heart. I did a lot of studies on color, and there is a thing where you have to understand color is secondary to light. If the light, the values are working, the colors most likely will work. It's not 100%, but the opposite isn't true. If you have very poor values and you try to use color to fix that, that's not gonna work. That's gonna be a mess. So my first advice for good color would be to have good light, good values. And then it's a matter of, again, in this specific case, the green wasn't super important. For example, if I wanted to have these as a warmer green, see, it would just work as well. Like, picking a warmer green in this case, and I'm moving it by 50 points, so that's a lot of difference. But you see, with these values I have, it's not a problem. If I wanted to make these blue, it still works. It's also changing the values a little bit, but the relationship they have still remained the same, even with this different color. And that's how you know you have working values. And going back to the topic of colors again, it's really hard to have a general how you pick the right color, because there is no right or wrong color. Every color can work in the right context. It depends, what are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to communicate? For example, if you're trying to make a very happy landscape with fields, if you use a lot of blues and purples or very dark tone, it's not going to work. So you always have to keep in mind what is that you're trying to communicate, and what colors are the right fit in that kind of place. But when you're doing things like this prop, where you have to paint a material, just make sure your values are working, and then you can worry about the color themselves. And part of it, of course, is just going to be practice, because getting color that look nice is not always easy, even if you have decent values. So I would recommend doing studies from Disney and Pixar, DreamWorks, because they have amazing colors. I did many studies from color keys, especially. You can do it from the screenshots of the movie as well, but of course they're not going to be as beautiful as the color keys, because CG lighting is still a little bit limited. You can't get all the nuances of painting in. Majestix asks, is that a hobby from you, or are you a pro at concept art 3D modeling? I am a professional artist. I work in concept art, I work in illustration and background painting for animation, and it's something I've been doing for a few years. I joined Skyblivion, sorry, back in 2017, and after a while I became the 2D department lead, and it actually helped me find a job in the industry, because I've been doing concept art for Skyblivion, sorry, a lot back in 2017, and the game studio found my work. They already knew of Skyblivion, and so they really liked my work on the project, and they gave me a job. So I would really encourage people who want to work in this field to pick up this kind of fun modding project, or because they give you experience working with other people in a team, and of course they can build your portfolio. It's always better if you have hands-on experience rather than just pretty drawings, unless your drawings of course are insane and amazing, then nobody will care. But if you're starting out and you're learning, or you're just a fresh student out of school, it's good to get some hands-on experience. Hey Kanorta, welcome. Yes, I'm actually using a Cintiq 22, the newer models, not the pro ones, and it's my first time using a Cintiq this year. I always had a Intuos tablet for the past 6-7 years, but it finally broke down, and I tried getting an XP pen as a replacement, but it wasn't that great. Well, it was nice for the price, because it came at like 1/3 of the price of the Waken. So I decided I'd give the Cintiq a shot. I'd never really used it, I didn't really care for it, but I liked using it now. It's pretty nice. But I don't particularly care which tablet I'm using. Screen, not screen, doesn't really make a huge difference to me. It's just a matter of getting used to the tool. Yeah, I can link it. Let me find it. Let's see. Just looking for the Cintiq 22. Okay. Oh no, it's not this one. This is the 22 HD because the old Cintiq, well, it's still in. You can still purchase it, but it's more expensive, and it's not that better. I feel like. So what I have is this one. Okay, I would say I wanted to add a little bit more details, but it seems like a kind of like not a pointless waste of time, but I feel like this is good enough for 3D to do their magic. They don't really need more information than this. Good morning, David. Let's see if we add a little sharpen pass. Yeah, that's nice. Oh, I'm not Rebel, I'm Rob. Rebel is not around today. And he's in the Netherlands, as far as I know. I'm not in the UK, I'm in Italy. I do work a lot for the UK though. My current company is in Scotland and my previous one was close to London. This necklace is actually the very common and boring Jade Amulet you can see here on the left. This might be a quest item, but we could just decide to make it available for purchase like the gold, or for loot like the gold and silver amulet. That would be up to the team, and this is the new design that we just completed. Okay, let's see. And just to do a recap for everyone who joined, recently we had the sketches done first. These were the other designs, but I wanted to go with something simple. Yeah, definitely not this one. So yeah. This is what we ended up with for our new Jade Amulet. And of course I have to do a little bit of layout, but just for presentation purposes it's not worth doing on stream. It's kind of boring. Because let's see what we can do next. I'm just gonna take a look at our list of things to do. We have a long list. The good thing is that armor, for example, are, I think, almost completely done. We just need the Imperial Guard armor for the base game, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. So, jewelry. We have a lot of rings that were done already, and I concept out some other amulets as well. I'm just trying to really grab stuff that's in the list and complete it. And for example, for this one, we also need to make a jeweled version of this Jade Amulet. So let's see what other gems or jewel we could add to this Jade Amulet. Just gonna quickly jump on Pinterest on my second screen to look up some gems. And if you have any suggestions, oh, I think, a moonstone or maybe an opal could be nice. Something that complements the green without contrasting. Like, I wouldn't do a ruby on it because it's too contrasty, or a deep purple. It's too much. Maybe something pink could also work, like a quartz, or topaz, turquoise. So many gems, so many gems. Let's see. Hey Craig, welcome. Okay, let's try something. And let's see what happens. Basically, we're gonna grab... This is gonna be the Jade Amulet base version. And now we're gonna make the jeweled version. And very simply, I'm gonna design first the shape, the contour, or rather the silhouette for this gem. That's definitely gonna go in here. I'm also gonna grab a couple more gemstone references. Opals are nice, but sometimes they're a bit too much in terms of colors. We could also decide to make a generic gem. Probably doesn't need to exactly be an existent one. Thanks, Craig. See you later. Kanarta, yes, joining the team, it's not really hard, but you need to at least, if you don't have artistic capabilities, for example, you probably need CK experience. That's the only other thing, unless you're a very experienced programmer. Because the team is mostly made up of people who can work in CK doing implementation, interior layouts and landscaping, and people who can do the drawings and modeling for the project. Yeah, I understand. Low poly and especially this kind of style, very high res and 4K textures, it's not super easy to make. I myself prefer doing stylized 3D, so I can totally relate. I think we can probably keep this kind of rounded diamond shape, because I could also go up here, but I think that would be a little weird. We might just make a second smaller one, like these, perhaps. I'm not too sure. Let's start with these first. And I'm simply gonna lock in the silhouette and start adding some of those nice colors. So let's go with some lilac color, maybe, and then I can probably change it if I don't like it. Maybe with a dash of pink. Yeah, it's kind of opaly, it's not bad. See? Just some splashes of saturation in the jam. And then we can remove the symmetry and start doing some very light shading to give it form. So we can do something like this. Just sculpt the gem a little bit. And we can use the lasso tool if we want to have some harsh reflection. And we can still use that blue light from here. Am I using a specific brush set? Yes and no. I mean, it's a combination of brushes I accumulated over the past years. And these are these impressionist brushes. You can find some in the Kyle standard sets that you can find if you have Photoshop. You can just go import more brushes and this is gonna pop up. And then a couple more from random sets. But what they do, all of them, is simply creating these very strong textures with some color variety in them. See, so you can add different colors with texture very easily. And once you have these blocked in, you can simply grab your round brush and, you know, refine your shapes. But you're still going to be able to maintain some of that nice texture that you blocked in, which is very, very nice. See, something like this. Out of curiosity, do you hire any drawers, not online but in real life? I guess not. What do you mean by do we hire in real life drawers? Like traditional artists or? Another thing we can do is, since the light is coming here, we can bounce some of it from the jade to the gem, and it can definitely benefit to have some green in it because it's completely surrounded by greens. So if we don't have any green, it might probably just look a little bit out of place because there's way too much green surrounding it. Yeah, I mean, traditional artists are as welcome as digital. There is not a problem as long as you can fit the quality standard of the team and then send files through the PC. That's basically the only thing required. Doesn't really matter if you work with oil paint or pencils or digital. What matters is the final product. This could be the jeweled, but I'm gonna try and see couple different colors. See what happens. You guys, let me think what you feel like. I'm not entirely sure myself. I think I kind of like the bluish one because they don't distract excessively from the base design. Although, if you see something like this magenta has a really nice contrast. Oh man, it's so hard. What am I gonna do? I said not the purple, but you know, it is kind of nice. It really draws your eye to the gem. What do you guys think? More deep purple magenta color or more red or green? Okay, yeah, let's keep it like this then for now. Just re-add a little bit of these bluish tones coming from that light up there. But like we did before, we also want to make sure that we poke through the light in this thing. So I'm gonna grab my other brushes, grab a very rich and saturated color, and I think I might just use the round brush to avoid too much texture in this thing. Well, we basically add a little bit of saturation here to emphasize that there's light coming through, like so, and then it comes out of this part and here as well. A little bit more blue here, and we can also probably bounce some of this red on the green, which, if you know, red and green don't really mix and match together that much, so it's gonna lose a lot of its power, but it's nice to indicate that they are reflecting on each other. This amulet is the Jade Amulet. We have the normal Jade Amulet and the jeweled Jade Amulet. And I'm simply going to do a couple more tests because I like the colors, but you know, we might find something nicer by accident. You never know. It's always worth playing around. See, this is actually very nice. Look at fan creation on the Discord. Nice, that was very fast as well. Looks good. Yeah, David, that's not a bad idea at all. It could be nice to darken this part to have like an inset And it's also something I can leave up to the 3D artists. We don't force people to follow exactly the concept 100%. If they feel they can improve it by changing something, they're usually free to do so. Ooh, look at this deep, deep reds. Not bad. What if we do a dark gem, like a... It could be a fragment of a soul gem. What do you guys think? Is it too crazy if we do a dark gem? Yeah, like David said, this is the redesign of the jade necklace. Yeah, I think having a soul gem adds a little bit more interesting, because you see this in game and you wonder, like, depending on where you find it, is this person up to something? Why do they have a necklace with a fragment of, soul gem in it? And since it's super small, considering this is a necklace, you usually don't even expect it to do anything. It's just cool. Cool to look cool, I guess.